United States has the longest surviving constitution and is the second largest democracy in the world. But in recent years, its electoral system has come under immense scrutiny. There are all kinds of allegations and counter-allegations being made by political parties. The electoral system has been rigged in the US in various ways. Voter caging. A political party who wants to purge voters from the voter rolls sends out mail to their addresses and then compiles a list of the mail that is returned undelivered, and using that list to purge voters from the voting rolls. Closure of DMV offices. A state can close branches of the Department of Motor Vehicles, which makes it harder for residents to obtain voter IDs. In 2014, Alabama passed a law requiring a photo ID to vote. Soon afterwards, the state shut down dozens of DMV offices in minority neighborhoods. Electronic voting machines. Installing remote access software and modems on systems that program voting machines and tally final results is a serious security issue. On election nights, many polling places around the country transmit voting results to their county election offices via modems embedded in their voting machines. Many of the modems are cellular, which use radio signals to send data to cell towers belonging to mobile carriers like Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T. These routers are technically part of the internet. Because of this, attackers can use the modem connections to reach back into election machines and tamper with data. Electoral College. The Electoral College was written into the US Constitution in 1787 to balance the states' and people's interests. It gives the voting power to states and not directly to people. But the issue is that it doesn't distribute the voting power to states in proportion to the population of that state, and thus gives more power to smaller states. Because of this, few people have more voting power than the rest of the population, which affects the election results as everyone's vote is not equal. Limitations on early voting. Cutbacks in early voting disproportionately affect African American voters who vote early in higher proportions than white voters. In North Carolina, Republican lawmakers requested data on various voting practices broken down by race. They then passed laws that restricted voting and registration in many ways that disproportionately affected African Americans, including cutting back on early voting. Closed primaries. A closed primary is a type of primary election in which a voter must affiliate formally with a political party in advance of the election date in order to participate in that party's primary. It creates more polarization in the society and also prevents the independents from participating in the primaries. Superdelegates. The use of superdelegates in the DNC's primaries is anything but democratic. They subvert the democratic process and have the power to completely ignore the votes of the people in the primaries, which risk disenfranchising and alienating thousands of voters away from the party. In the 2016 DNC primary, had Clinton not won and pledged delegates during the primaries, superdelegates were Clinton's safeguard to secure her the nomination. If Republicans had a similar system in place, Jeb Bush would likely have wound up the party's nominee. Gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is a practice intended to establish a political advantage for a particular party by manipulating district boundaries. Gerrymandering may be used to help or hinder a particular demographic, such as a political, ethnic, racial, linguistic, religious, or class group. Gerrymandering can also be used to protect incumbents. In a district that has been manipulated, the election is reduced to a mere ritual to verify the predetermined result. Due to this, politicians are choosing voters rather than the other way around. When voters of different parties are segregated into separate districts, politicians no longer have to listen to citizens with different political viewpoints. This encourages elected officials to appeal to political extremes.